Stephen, if you're there, go ahead. Why don't you call me, and I can hook you right into John Palmour. John, you're with the. I'm sorry, I just blanked on the name. Helpful Hope. What's the name of your organization again?
HealthyHopes.org.
HealthyHopes.org. Okay, now we're going to add. We've got Stephen on the line from HealthyHopes.org as well, and then we have John on the line. Who wants to go first and tell us a little bit about what HealthyHopes.org is up to these days?
So I guess I can. This is Stephen. So what Healthy Hopes is a basically a group of business partners and friends that got together and recognized that there are still a huge number of people in this country that need access to medical cannabis and just can't get it because of where they live. So through various means, we are in the process now of purchasing property in Northern California, where we are going to start relocating people to with our nonprofit to our collective there, where they will learn how to grow, and they will work with our growers such as John Palmour, who is with us, and to develop strains of cannabis for their specific conditions.
Okay, so let me ask you, why California? If Colorado and Washington actually have more of a legalized cannabis state. Why did you pick California? Are you hooking up with a ongoing collective that's been around for a while?
We do have resources on the ground in California. We do have several partnerships that we are in the process. We have verbal commitments on now that we'll hopefully be able to announce soon. So it just made sense. We think we can still do it with Prop 215 there. It's still the birthplace of medical cannabis in this country, really.
Absolutely. And, 1996, they started it off. If it wasn't for California, there would be no medical programs. They helped facilitate and get everything going, and they were the pioneers. It was sort of interesting that a few years ago, when they tried to legalize, that it went down, but that was a whole nother story. So, John, you're going to be involved in growing medicine. What strains are you finding that are really helpful to a lot of people? Do you have any strains in mind?
Well, of course, we're going to be targeting the high CBD strains, since that's what a lot of people seem to be wanting these days. So we're going to be seeking out the most healthy cuts of Harlequin, C4. Hopefully, if we can get our hands on Charlotte's Web, we'll work with that. So we'll just see what we have in the pipeline. And going back to your thing with California, one of the main reasons we also chose California as part of Healthy Hopes' stance is we want to take this back to a sustainable, renewable process. And California is the perfect environment for that, with full sun-grown capabilities.
Right.
So that's another reason to go to California.
I am totally for outdoor grows. I just, as much as you can control everything indoors, for my personal opinion, and I've been smoking it since 1968 when I first arrived in California, and so I don't know. I just find that the outdoor has got a little bit of an edge to it because of the natural sun and so forth. But things seem to be improving with lights and indoors, and of course you can control the temperature and everything else. So now you guys are basically on the East Coast now, and you're going to relocate out to California. Were you guys from New Jersey? Is that where you're calling from?
Well, we have partners in various places around the country. We have, like I said, we have some resources on the ground already in California. I am located north of Atlanta, in the Georgia mountains. John Palmour lives in the Atlanta area, and a couple of my business partners live in New Jersey, New York area. So it's really a nationwide effort of people that have come together here to kind of put our resources together and do something better.
So are you guys actually going to, when I was reading your website very quickly earlier today, are you actually going to help assist people move from non-marijuana states to get help, or are you just going to try to bring them out to California? How is that going to work?
So we do plan to provide relocation assistance. Seth Green, who I don't believe we've looped him into the show yet. I just sent him a message to call in if you with the number that you provided. Seth is going to be our first patient that we move out. He's a really dynamic vocal patient activist from Tennessee that a lot of people probably know. And he's
Is he involved with that website that is very active, an activist? Is that him? He has a web. There's somebody in Tennessee that I see on Facebook all the time that is.
So he has.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
most
he has
likely
greener
that. Yeah, greener
pastures.
pastures.
Greener Pastures. Okay, Seth, if you're out there, go ahead and call in, and go ahead, John or Steve, continue.
John, go ahead. You can talk now.
You're doing fine, Stephen. Go right ahead.
I'll tell you. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was just gonna say, really, it's just a lot of people that have gotten together and put our heads together. A lot of like-minded people. It started out sort of as a business thing, and as we went on, we realized that there needed to be another aspect to it. There needed to be a way that we could do something for the greater good too. So that's where we're headed. We've got an offer we've presented for a piece of property in Northern California right now. We're waiting for a response from the owner. And then we plan to go forward.
Okay, we have Seth on the line. Seth, welcome to Medical Marijuana Radio. You're on the air.
Hey, thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
So, Seth, how did you hook up with these guys? What? Tell me a little bit about yourself and Healthy Hopes.
They actually contacted me. I'm a very outspoken person in my state because of all the lies that the government has been telling me about seizures and the medical deal.
Seth, you might want to turn your computer sound down a little bit. I don't know if you're wearing headphones or not, but we're getting a little feedback. If you could do that, that would help a little bit.
But no, they pretty much, well, I just got tired of all the lies that the government was telling me, and so I took matters into my own hands and went and done my own research. Come to find out that the government knew that it was curing cancer back in the early 70s, and I found out that they was prescribing it in the 30s or 40s, I think.
Right, up until 1937, and even a little later, cannabis was actually in the pharmacopoeia for a lot of diseases, especially seizures and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, from about 100 years, from about 1850 to almost 1950, it was in the pharmacopoeia. So they made it illegal, as you know, and prohibition is why we're all here today. So what's happening? I don't know. Any one of you three can answer this. What's happening in Georgia specifically with medical marijuana? What's going on there?
Yeah, good that you asked that. I was actually somewhat involved in the legislative process this year here in Georgia as an activist with Peachtree Normal and the Georgia Care Project. A bill was presented. It was H. Bill 885, which was basically a CBD-only legislation. It was extremely flawed, the main point being that the legislation protected parents of children with seizures. They were allowed to go to a state where it could be prescribed to them where it was legal, and they would be protected there, but they had to bring it back to the state of Georgia. Once they got to Georgia, they were safe from prosecution. But whatever happened in between the two states was on them. So it was very flawed legislation, so it ended up failing in the final part of the legislative session. That and one of our senators actually wanted insurance companies to pay for the prescriptions for medical marijuana. And being in the South, seeing how here in Georgia specifically, we just recently got Sunday sales for alcohol. Trying to get people to understand medical marijuana has been a hard sell. Surprisingly enough, the people support it greatly, and we do have a new bill coming up in 2015, which does have a caregiver patient model built into it, which is much more promising than H. Bill 885 was.
So when
that's where we basically stand.
So when Healthy Hopes gets to California, what is your projection? When do you feel you guys will be up and running there?
Right now,
we want to hit the ground running.
Go ahead, John.
Go ahead. Hopefully we will hit the ground running. Like Stephen said, we've already got resources in place to be able to do just that. Once we get the ranch up and going, not only will we be doing outdoor, but we'll be doing indoor as well. So, as soon as we can get people out there and get our feet on the ground, hopefully within 6 to 9 months, we'll see a concerted effort with some real results.
Will you be
go ahead.
Will you be concentrating on any particular diseases or conditions, or just wide open to anyone who needs cannabis treatment?
So obviously, right off the bat, Seth, he would be able to explain his myriad of medical conditions, but he has cerebral palsy and MS and a lot of stuff like that. So that's going to be our main focus when we hit the ground. One thing that I forgot to mention is that we do have a partnership that we are putting together with a national solar company, national renewable energy company, and we plan to have solar and biodiesel to run our indoor also.
Great. You're welcome to plug them if you'd like.
I would like to, but at this point, it's another NDA. So.
Okay, not ready. So okay,
right.
So John, since you're on the grower end of things, are you also the extractor expert? How will you be extracting your medicine?
Well, we intend on getting state-of-the-art closed-loop systems to do all the latest technologies. I myself am not extremely well versed on extractions. We do have partners that will be leaning on for that, with the goal of creating the most efficient medicine to target the needs of our patients. We're going to, of course, take a whole plant holistic approach to this and stay on the cutting edge.
So Seth, currently, are you just under treatment with pharmaceuticals?
No, sir. When I found out, I was on 31 different types of medications, and every medication I was on made my seizures worse, or made me actually feel like I was on crack. I mean, I would get at least about 4 hours of sleep in, and finally I just threw them down the toilet. I just had enough of all of the problems that I was causing my mom because of her losing her job and etc. It was just too much. So, like I said, I took matters into my own hands, and I just started dealing with cannabis in my own way, and come to find out after not being on any pharmaceutical drugs, my seizures have dropped tremendously, but not enough to where I'm able to be productive.
Mm-hmm. I lived with someone for about 25 years that had seizure disorder, and I know how terrible Tegretol, Neurontin, and all those pharmaceuticals can be. You can't think right, you can't function, and obviously, as we've all watched Sanjay Gupta with these reports, and we hear about the kids all over. It's also for adults. It takes care of seizures in adults too. Let's not think it's just for kids. So, Seth, I guess what I'd like to ask you, Stephen or John mentioned that you have a few different conditions like MS and CP, I think. Can you tell me how cannabis reacts to both of those particular afflictions?
For my CP, it really, really, really does a tremendously job. It works miracles. To put it in short terms, it makes me feel normal. I have it on my right side. My muscles are relaxed. I can get a full breath of air because the right side of my body, the muscles tightens, and then it will draw in. It will make my right lung not fill up with a full, with full air, and so and also I have trouble swallowing, and my muscles get so tight that my throat will get so tight it feels like I'm choking, and I will go into such a bad anxiety attack to where I will go into a seizure.
So while you're having symptoms like that, when your throat is tightening up, let's say, are you able to try some cannabis, and then is there a reaction to that immediately, or how do you deal with that when you're having a crisis?
When I'm having that feeling, I take it, and about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on what type of strain it is, it will calm my muscles down, and sometimes my pain will all go away.
Okay, now that's in regard to your symptoms with CP, right?
Yes.
Okay, now what about you? You also have MS?
Yes.
All right, now tell me a little bit about how cannabis helps you with the MS.
I mean, it takes it all away. The pain, I would recommend everyone to use cannabis over pharmaceutical pain pills, because there's no side effects. You can't die from it, and it's worked wonders for each of my symptoms compared to the pharmaceutical drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to do anything to get me healthier, and then my mom healthier.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck, Seth, and good health, and get yourself to California when John and Stephen are ready. And I thank you for calling in tonight. Let me just go around and have Stephen, if you'd like to make some final comments, and then we'll talk to John for his final comments.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show. I know we were scheduled for last week, and I really appreciate you getting us back on this week. We're really excited about what Healthy Hopes is going to become. We're totally committed to doing this. Every day we take another smaller step. Once we have this contract signed, there's going to be a huge weight off of everybody's shoulders, I know, and hopefully in the next day or two we'll get that done. We're together on the price. We're just a little bit off on the down payment. So
Gotcha.
once we've got that done, we should be ready to start rolling, get John out there, and then we can bring Seth out. And Seth is actually going to be instrumental in helping build the program for more people to come out, for future patients to come out.
Okay, well, that's great, and I want you to keep us posted. You're welcome to call in on another week and keep us updated on what's going on. John, how about you? Any final comments about your project?
Just thank you for the opportunity of getting us on and getting the word out. Just looking forward to getting this active and helping as many people as possible. Having been an activist here in the Southeast for 21 years now, this is basically a dream come to fruition. So just look forward to helping as many people as possible.
Absolutely. So,
Larry,
yes, go ahead, Steve.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask if I could plug our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/healthyhopes.
Facebook.com/healthyhopes, and then it's also healthyhopes.org, right?
Right, and we've set up a medical marijuana refugee forum for patients and for families to start coming together on that forum on our website on healthyhopes.org. So information can be shared and knowledge can be gained, and we can actually hopefully make a difference. So we hope to start building some real connections on there.
Absolutely. Well, I admire what you're doing. It's definitely the time. What we do need to is to nationalize medical marijuana. Every state should have
Absolutely.
medical marijuana. There's no sense in people uprooting themselves, but you know what? People like Seth that are sitting there in Georgia or Tennessee and suffering, you need to go do what you have to do now, and hopefully in the future the politicians will come around. So I want to thank John, Stephen, and Seth from healthyhopes.org. Thank you both. Thank you for what you're doing, and I wish you luck in getting all that together. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was pretty interesting. And in regard to the politicians, here's a little clip that says it's time for politicians to get on